Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wild and Wild podcast. I'm so excited to come to you today and just check in with you, like a really chill check-in. How is everyone doing? How are you feeling today? I feel like often life is going 100 miles an hour and we don't often check in with ourselves. So just take a nice deep breath, just ground yourself, and joining me now for the next hour or so, just to really dive deep in conversation and inspiration. I hope I can bring you that. Life can feel a little bit of a whirlwind at times, right? Especially with school holidays fast approaching again for Easter, all the life commitments, juggling work, kids, the morning rush, the ups and downs that just come with running a business. And we're only human at the end of the day, and we can't fit it all in sometimes. So wherever you're listening from today, whether you're driving, walking the dog, or having a quiet moment for yourself, I just want to say I hope you're doing all right. And if you can today, try and carve out a little bit of time for yourself. Maybe it's that walk or some breath work, a meditation, or simply just stepping outside with a cup of tea for a calm moment. And looking after ourselves, honestly, really matters. I actually hit a little bit of burnout. I'd been doing so much in the new year. I then went on holiday, and it was actually for a PR stay, which was so exciting. And guess what happened? Day 2, I hit a wall. I had this virus that's been going around, and you know what? This was weeks ago now, and my voice still hasn't recovered from it. So that was a lesson for me to really start investing back in myself. Even though I've got a big workshop tomorrow, I'm going to go on a run today. I'm going to try and do some self-care techniques because it's so important. So I want to jump into today's episode. It's actually something really special. Last year, I had the pleasure of going on a friend's podcast, and Ben owns the podcast called Graft Podcast. And Ben has built something incredible with that show. It's a whole platform all about highlighting people who are truly grafting in life, working hard, building things, overcoming challenges, and carving their own path. So he invited me to talk about my journey, and it ended up being such a powerful conversation that I wanted to share with you today. In this episode, we dive into my ups and downs of life, from overcoming quite a lot of childhood anxiety to finding my path into the corporate world, and then jumping into the wellness world to become a community leader through Wild and Wild. We talk about resilience, self-discovery, and the strength that can come from some of life's toughest moments. And I shared the story of when I did leave the corporate world and I traveled to India from a one-off moment of an opportunity coming up with a film crew, and this experience changing my life. And actually a hug with a saint out there, Amma, which is as cliche as it is, changed the trajectory of my life just from this experience in Kerala in India on my own, not knowing anyone, which led me then to become a yoga teacher and da-da-da-da-da. You'll hear it all in the episode. So if you've ever felt like you're still figuring things out as you go, or if you're, in a moment of transition in your life right now, or business, I think this is the conversation that will really resonate with you. And it feels especially fitting because the day this podcast goes out today, I'm actually hosting my She Rises retreat with the amazing Hannah Gregan at Capeston Hall. So today we'll be guiding a room full of incredible women through mindset, values, goal setting, and stepping into their power. We're diving deep into overcoming imposter syndrome, getting really clear on your mission, and all those things. But I just wanted to share some little tips with you now, if that's all right with you, just before we go drop into the episode with Ben. But I think it's really, really important to get really crystal clear on your values. So if you're in business, aligning everything around your values, your content that you put out daily, your pricing, the collaborations that you work with, how your team are trained, it's everything about your values should run through your business. So I've got a little question for you. Is what you're sharing about your business or life each day actually reflecting your core values? are you really clear on the problem you solve, the mission you're on, and the value you bring into society? Because for me, one of the biggest lessons has been connection always beats competition, and community truly is currency. So wherever you are today, I really hope this episode inspires you to keep going, keep growing, and keep believing in your path. And I've just been really inspired, one more thing, by that Emma Greed. I was just listening to her podcast this morning, and she asks some really important questions too. And she says, so ask yourself today, what's one thing you want to do or learn? What habits you want to create, and what boundaries will you put in place to make them happen? And what goals have you had in the past that you haven't achieved that you can do this year? So maybe write those down today as well. So yeah, her episode, Emma, just really inspired me today. And go and check out a book that she mentioned called Atomic Habits. Really powerful. It's got me really thinking about habit stacking and getting more done in my day. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy the episode today. It's so lovely to connect with you wherever you are, and have a good day, everyone.
April, welcome to the podcast Graft. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on.
You're very, very welcome. Let me just give you a quick headline about what Graft is, because it actually leads nicely into my first question.
Okay.
So Graft is it's called Graft, the podcast where hard work gets you. Trying to give people an insight into people's different careers or life journeys, to really demonstrate that, you know, graft and hard work can get you to wherever you need it to be, and there's kind of no excuses for not doing it. But the reason that leads me into my first question, right, is, so when I told my wife, I'm going to be interviewing April Wild, she was like, oh, right, cool, what does she do? And I was like, what doesn't she do? She does everything. She's the busiest person I know, but then I couldn't actually really
pinpoint it.
What does April do? So that's going to be my first question.
Yes. What do I do? What do I do? Well, you know, I specialize in doing community events. I'm like a wellness events, but like you said just then, I do a magnitude of different things.
Yeah.
I'm a yoga teacher, also a doula. I have a podcast. I have a business. I was in hospitality. Also have a property business. And I think that's the beauty of this day and age, is we don't have to just pick one thing.
Yeah.
Like back in the old days, I remember, you know, I had a lot of pressure from my parents growing up, like you need to specialize. And I tried to, like I started out doing a psychology degree, and I was like, I'm going to become a psychologist. I'm going to specialize in child psychology. But you know what? Life had different plans for me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel why I love what I do so much is because it's all the things I enjoy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's basically my business, Wild and Wild, is a business that specializes in empowering women, particularly, to be the best versions of themselves, to feel the best they can be in their life.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me dig into that a little bit, because I obviously had a gist of what you do and some of the events that you put on. But if I start with, I probably historically used to think, yeah, I know April as a yoga teacher. How is it then blended into, you know, you've mentioned 4 or 5 different things there.
Yeah.
What I really like about that is that one of the things that's always struck me about you is this kind of free-flowing energy that is almost relentless. You know, I you know, when I look at some of your Instagram posts and so on, it's like you're at the dog park,
I'm here.
doing yoga, we do this retreat, and it's amazing, and that level of energy is amazing. But talk to me about why there isn't been that one thing that you thought, I love that, I'm going to do that, and staying doing that.
I think I'm a creative. Like, I'm just always excited to plan and think ahead. I like a visionary. My mum used to say, like, and I probably get those traits from my mum, which we'll talk about, like my mum's journey. But she just inspired that in me, that you can do anything you want in your life. So why stick to one thing? You know, if you, I mean, I like that in life as well with like fitness. I love, you know, like we did a High Rocks together. I do CrossFit, I do yoga, I do running. Like, I just think I like a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I felt like there's more to life than just being stuck on a 9-to-5 office job, which I always felt like that I was destined to do. I felt that pressure from school to pick a job, well paid. And, you know, I did go down that path. So after graduating from Manchester University, I went into a corporate role at McCann. So I was in a marketing agency, working on the top Aldi accounts and working in the studios, which was really interesting. And you know what? I did enjoy it, but just something didn't sit right with me. And I felt like, because I'm such a creative, I was like, I don't want to be sat at a desk. I want to be.
Like you're being held back.
Yeah. I feel like I felt stuck. Like I felt drained at the end of each day, like just staring at a computer screen and just sat still. Like I felt like I need a job or a passion that moves me around. And this is where yoga came in, which was kind of happened by chance. I got invited. An opportunity, a friend of a friend said, "Hey, April, do you fancy coming to do a documentary out in India?" Right? Really random. And at the time, my instant thought was like, no, I don't, what's this about? But my gut was like, do it, just go for it. And so I went out to India just on my own for like a month and went to film a documentary about this lady. She's a saint called the Hugging Mother, Amma, and she's really famous. She travels around the world just giving darshan, these hugs. Very interesting, bit spiritual. But we did a documentary. It was her 65th birthday. Millions of people arrived in Kerala just to have this hug with her. So it was like interesting. This film crew from America came in to document it all. And it was just fascinating to me, like, wow, there's so many interesting people. And on that trip, I know it sounds a bit cliche, but I had this hug with her, which you have, people queue up for, wait hours for.
You'd have to get a hug if you're doing a documentary.
Yeah, I had to have it, right? I actually got two, which was quite lucky.
Okay.
And I just had this like moment. It wasn't straight away, but while I was on that trip, I was like, I don't want to work in the corporate world. I want to quit my job when I get back, maybe, and specialize in something that I love. And at the time, I really enjoyed yoga.
Yeah.
So another weird thing, and I always believe in the law of attraction. Like my mum instilled that in me. I think when I was 18, she made me go to Anthony Robbins' course. In London. Yeah, and I was such a shy young girl. Like, honestly, I'd shake. Like doing something like this, I'd be all shaky and couldn't speak in public. And she was like, come on, let's go for a 3-day conference in London. And I was there like, woo, this is scary. And by the end of it, I was standing on my chair, speaking my vision to like 5,000 people. It's crazy, like so many people in the room.
Wow.
And little things like that, my mum instilled in me from a young age. So when I went on this India trip, I thought, you know what, there's more to life. I want to do something I'm passionate about. And on that trip, the reason I mentioned the law of attraction, the last few days, I went on a little Ayurvedic retreat. And there's been this yoga teacher I'd followed all my life called Shiva Ray. She's one of the most famous yoga teachers in America. And the first day I arrived on this retreat after the documentary was filmed, turned to my right, she's sat there in the pool next to me. And I'm like, what are the chances?
Yeah. Right there, right?
I was like, so I got chatting to her. She's like, I'm teaching these retreats. I teach them around the world, Bali, India, America. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to run retreats, events. I want to see like people coming to my events that have this smile on their face. You should have seen the women that were there. I was like, this is so empowering. And it's all about, it stems down to health and wellness. So I want people to feel really good in themselves, in their bodies, in their like confidence within themselves, and to give that out into the world and not hold themselves back. Like we all have the potential to do whatever we want in our lives. So it all stemmed my journey from there. I got back and I actually did that. I quit my corporate job. And then I dived into a teacher training in London. So while I worked out my notice, I was like working 9 to 5. And then at the weekend, I'd go to London and train like every weekend on my yoga teacher training, which was a whole year. And then it went from there, really. So I've been teaching yoga for over 15 years now.
That's amazing.
And I still love it to this day, just as much as I did day one.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by London Nootropics, my go-to adaptogenic coffee that helps you get all the energy, but no crashes or jitters. You've probably seen me sipping it on the socials, us giving them out at our networking events. It's my top blend for energy, for daily life, for fueling, for my runs and high rocks, and just for balancing out stress. These blends aren't just coffee, they're functional. Each one infused with natural adaptogens like ashwagandha, lion's mane, and cordyceps to help you stay calm,
focused yet energized without the crash. Adaptogens help us for our daily stresses. And as a busy mum of 4, business owner, yoga teacher, and having ADHD, these help me on my goals and my daily task list to not have all that procrastination going on behind the scenes. So I want you to find your flow, stay grounded, and let's get back into the episode. But if you want to try these, our community has 20% off all London Nootropics products. So go to their website and use code WILD. Head to their Instagram at london.nootropics or their website, londonnootropics.com, and enjoy.
So the interesting part of that, April, that resonates with me definitely. I started my own business 5-6 years ago. And it never, ever occurred to me until then that you could do more than one thing. Do you know what I mean? And even now, I think that people, if they go into a full-time job, I think there's such a kind of regimented way of thinking of, that's the only thing I do and that's it. Where there's so many off-spins and opportunities that they can do other things, that you can maybe take an individual passion as an example of going to do something. Talk to me, though, about how does that not become too overbearing? It's like I say, I'm in the most positive way. I mean this. I look at your Instagrams and it exhausts me.
No, it can.
But I mean, it's amazing. But it's just, but more that that you definitely, to me anyway, you have this relentless energy.
Yeah. I have to watch it because I burn out. I do.
Really?
Like, Instagram is dangerous because it makes people look. I see all the shiny parts of everyone's lives. And I actually posted on my stories. I got honest the other day. I was like,
I saw it.
I'm burnt out. Like, I'm doing too much. But thankfully now, I'm hiring people. I'm hiring freelancers. I've got an amazing team member, Louise, that's working with me now. And I'm starting to realize that I can't do it all alone.
Yeah.
We've got to get the people in our lives to help us. But back to what you said about, doing too much. I realized this. So I set up, after becoming my, yoga teacher, starting to do all my events, my retreats, I then decided, I want a wellness space in my hometown. I want to bring it to Congleton. So I set that up in 2018 and it took off more than I ever imagined. We were on BBC Homes Under the Hammer, the whole project. And we had queues up the street on the first opening day, people from Liverpool, Manchester.
And this is Wild and Wild.
This is Wild and Wild. Yeah, my cafe in town. But the reason I mention this is because, yes, I loved what I did, but 7 years hard graft, really hard hospitality. It made me, I'm really glad I did that. But it did lead to a lot of burnout, and I think I reached a point where I was like, I'm doing way too much.
Okay.
And I need to prioritize. I need to put boundaries up to what is like my core values.
Yeah.
And it went back to wellness, community, and helping women.
So when you opened Wild and Wild, right, in Congleton is historically a very working class town. I remember when Deviate opened in Congleton, Chris Carson's local businessman in hospitality.
Great.
He opened Deviate, and I remember someone saying, they're going to be serving £5 cocktails. And I remember being sat in a hairdresser's, so you can tell how long ago that was, right? And everyone being like, that's bullshit. No one's going to pay a £5 for a cocktail in this town. Fast forward 2018, I meet April Wild, and you're opening. I remember you opened a cafe in the middle of town, and me being, what a brilliant. And then someone was like, it's vegan, I was like, what is this?
Honestly, but the backlash I got, even from family, and it makes you, you should stay strong to what you believe in, because you'll get a lot of backlash when you're different.
I remember somebody being in there, right, April, when I was in there once, and I remember them sat down and went, I can have a coffee, please. And you said, what milk would you like? And they were like, I'll have cow's milk. I'm like, oh, sorry, we're a vegan cafe. Yeah. And they were like,
they just look at you.
I'll just have a different. What would you like to eat? And they were like, can I have scrambled egg? And you were like, but it's a vegan version. They were like, and they were just, their mind was.
But you know what? Did they walk out?
No, they stayed.
And also, we started to change the language a bit. I'd just say when people came in, instead of asking, I'll go, right, do you want oat, soya, or coconut? Yeah. And then they go, oat. Yeah, and I'm like, that's the best one.
But it was great to see something new, and you were really pushing the boundary of it. But help me for a second and a little bit more granular in that cafe element, because there could be a lot of people watching this and that are changing careers, looking to do something new, perhaps wanting to get into hospitality.
Yeah.
How hard was it? It's probably my backdrop of, I'd love to go and open a coffee shop or open a rustic wood-fired pizza place, and I've got these ideas of, oh, hi guys, nice to see you again.
Community.
Here's a nice pizza, and I sip coffee, and then we shut the door 1 minute after everything's closed and everything's taken care
perfect.
of. Right?
This is my idea.
Right.
I had this wellness hub. I had this yoga studio upstairs. We had rooms for therapists. At the end of the day, I'd be back to my kids and I'd all be happy.
Yeah.
You know what? The first year was hard.
Yeah.
Like, I had to learn everything. Like,
what was hard though? Like,
so
what were the
it was
big things that you were like, I wasn't aware that was going to be so hard?
Hiring. At first, it was fine because we found such passionate people. But then when you realise the staff turnover in hospitality, people want to go off travelling. They just want a part-time job. They move on. Chefs move on to bigger things in Manchester. You have a lot of changeovers, and that really threw me. I just thought, we'd have a set team, and then that would, be
it's
it.
Locked down, it's set.
Yeah, and then also just like financial planning. So we were really lucky. You guys that are listening should check out the Happy Pair. So we went over to Ireland on a trip just before we were going to open. We're like, let's have a little family trip before the chaos starts. And they sat down with us and gave us some business advice. I mean, these guys have millions of followers worldwide. They were incredible. And they have such a vision, and like, the thing is with the hospitality, you need to be there all the time. If it's really going to be successful, you've got to be there.
You've got to work in it.
And you know what I would say to people? It's great, but when you have young children, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 4 young children, and at the time when I opened, I had 2. It was a trickier time because it's like trying to grow a business. Some days we'd be there till 9 p.m. at night because logistically, when you first open a cafe, it's getting the systems in place, like the check down list, the close down. You just don't think of this before you open.
And had you done anything like that before?
Never, no. I mean, I've worked in a coffee shop probably when I was younger and when I was traveling around Australia maybe, but I was like, this is new. Like, you really got to be key on leadership. Like, you've got to delegate well. Like, right, your close down list is this. Chefs, you've got to do this. And it's tricky because you've got to keep check on everything. And even just working with suppliers, which I love working with local businesses, but things come up, you know.
Let you down, yeah.
They let you down, you might not get, and then customers can kick off if they don't have their lovely, gluten-free bread or sourdough.
Yeah. And so and please take this comment in the right way, that structure of that working day and that type of business, for me, looking then from what you're describing, means... wow, you'd have to be really on point and structured here.
You've got to enjoy that side of it.
And you...
I don't like structure as much.
Well,
I like free. No,
like
I don't.
It more that, not in a wonderful way, don't get me wrong, but just more, that sounds like you've got to be quite regimented.
Yeah.
So my question is, did you learn to do that, and did you enjoy doing that?
I had to learn to do it. I had to learn to do it quick. Yeah. like we were open 7 days a week at first.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we grew to that. My husband was amazing. We did it together, the business, and he did all the finance, the back office, the website design, like everything we did ourselves, the social media. And we, because we never paid for advertising, we did everything ourselves. That was something I underestimated, how much the social media and being the face of the business, because the Happy Pair guys actually recommended do stories, be the face of the business. And I was like, me? No, I'm not doing that. And I had to really train myself to do that. I had to train myself to be on camera and be comfortable with that. And that is the thing that brought us in business. Like, that was not just me, but like getting pictures of the team and getting the food quality and like things that are happening that day. Look what we've got, a special of the day. And people are very visual, and that took so much more time. So all the structural stuff you said, the planning, the forecasting, it was really tough. And it made me... in all honesty, it did burn me out by a few years in, and then we came to lockdown. So only a few years in, we hit lockdown, and we had our most successful year in lockdown, which is crazy.
Home deliveries and that sort of thing.
Because of my brain, I think, and Chris's brain, we thought, we'll just do something different. And overnight, when they announced lockdown, we created an online shop. And we said, we're going to deliver grazing boxes to all of the community. We're going to do veg boxes. And it wasn't to do with making money. We did it a lot for the NHS for free. We did veg boxes for like £15, £10 a box. But it went bananas. Like, we had one day, we had like about 500 orders. And we were literally like all just driving around like to Staffordshire, Manchester, Cheshire, like, and it actually got us loads of new customers though, because we did something that no one else was doing. And I'm quite good at, I think it's my mum in me and the powerful businesswoman she was. I'm very driven, and I like to people please, and I like to make people happy. I want them to feel good. So I know that these products would be good for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun though. Like we'd have grazing platters all set up in the cafe.
A healthy element to what you're delivering in a product sense, right? As well.
Yeah.
From that, and I know that you talked about the backdrop of everything you want it to be as people being well-being and people being healthy.
Well, this is the key.
And that food was, I mean, it was delicious, but it was very nutritious as well, right?
That was the number one. So our aim of opening Wild and Wild was not to do a cafe. It was to be a community hub to make people eat more fruit and vegetables in our town, because you know that only, I think it's a statistic that I'd heard on like this Deliciously Ella podcast, it's like less than 30% eat their standard 5 a day. Like in the UK, it's something like 30 or 40%.
I watched something the other day. I watched a podcast on Instagram. You know the two twin brothers that are doctors?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
They were saying like in 2018, 70% of a household shop was natural, you know.
I saw that, yeah.
And now it's like...
And you should they laid it out, didn't they? And it was like, oh my God, just boxes, frozen food. And this was the key. We made everything from scratch. Like I think people didn't realise this in the town.
Yeah.
That's why it took a little bit more time, because everything was made. The burgers to even sometimes the breads, we were making the focaccias in lockdown, everything delivered. Like it was a full-time thing, and it was amazing. The best experience I've ever done, and I'm so happy I had the cafe. 7 years of real hard graft. And you know what? It's opened my eyes. I feel like if you want to learn anything about business, go and open something in hospitality, because it opens your mind. You have to be good at relationships, suppliers, finance, like managing a team. You got to be quick on your feet with customer service. You know, you've got to do everything.
That's a brilliant insight for people there as well, right? I always think about, I push the kids when they want to do something. It's like, go and get a job that makes you social.
Yeah.
Right. If you can get the social aspect of dealing with people, people that are hard to deal with. It's like my son will come back from where he works, will remain nameless, right? But he'll come back and oh God, this customer, you should have seen him. Yeah. It's like, but that's life, mate.
It's good experience.
That's how you navigate stuff that you are going to be meeting people like that all the time. So how do you respond to it, which is key? But
it's keeping your level of like calm, like in any situation, and resilience, really. Like it's because you're always faced with difficult people. I mean, we were at the cafe, we had people that come all this way expecting like quick, fast service. But sometimes, you know, it's often, if we're a Saturday and there's an artisan market on outside and we're hundreds of people in, you know, it's hard, and you've got to keep quick on your feet and things. But it's been such a lesson. I would say though, the beauty of today, we are in a world where we can make money from online. And for me, in my personal life, having 4 children, having multiple businesses, it made sense not to have a physical premises. That was the one thing that shocked me the most. Business rates, rent, all the things I had to pay, and you're tied into. So I think for me now, my goal is to create a online business, and obviously in-person events. I love doing that for the community. As at the moment, we do like monthly networking groups, masterclasses, like walking clubs, retreats, all sorts. But I'm not having to, you know, cater for them. We use other hospitality places, local businesses in the area. But I'm growing an online community and an online membership, which I do feel is the next popular thing.
Yeah. Okay. Just back to the cafe a little bit, just one final bit. When did you know, what was the trigger that you were like, this is not sustainable, we have to change it? And when you made that, how hard was it then to say?
It was so hard. It was devastating to me. It felt like losing a child in a way, because it's like, it was my baby. It was like I'd put my life into it for so long. And you know what? It was still in profit. We were still doing well, but it was choose between balance in my own life or caring and nurturing the business. And I felt like I needed to choose my family and my mental health and sustainability. So yeah, it was really tough. But the key pivotal moment was my mum got poorly with stage 4 cancer all of a sudden, and she passed away months later. And I'd recently gone through a lot of loss in my life. So my grandma, and then we lost a little one through miscarriage, which I, don't mind mentioning, but it's natural in life. We go through ups and downs, but these moments really define us. And my mum would always say to me, you need to do what you love. And I kind of reflected and I thought, am I still loving this?
Really
and I did,
Yeah.
for 5 years probably, until it started getting a bit taxing after COVID and things. And I was like, it's not right. My heart's not in it now. So it was a really hard decision. And I just said, we've got to sell it, and move on. And we were really lucky, like we managed to do that quite quickly. But and then set up. And then I was going to rebrand completely. But then I looked and I'm like, we've got this incredible Instagram with like over 10,000 followers. We've got, we've won awards. We're like Cheshire Cafe.
Right? And it's a beautiful name. I think it's so synonymous with everything about you and what you now do.
This is it.
It would be, it'd be crazy to not.
And we were like,
that,
we won like Cheshire Life Cafe of the Year awards two times in a row. And then after that, I thought, well, should we keep the name and just turn it into an event business? So we kind of did that, and I thought, I wonder how that'll go. And then in our first year, we've won a health and wellness award for our event business. So I'm like, oh, it's obviously a good name still, because I think Wild and Wild is our family name. Like it's the root of my family and doing community events for the power of the town. So it just made sense to keep it.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I do want to talk about your mum.
Yes. Oh, I'd love to talk about
it. Yeah. So sadly, your mum Dawn did pass away. But can you give me some background about her? Because
I'd love to.
I do know some details about it, but I think it'd be an amazing kind of story to hear for the viewers. So
yes,
what she built and what she did.
My mum was one of the most inspirational leaders in British manufacturing in probably the whole of the UK. I would say, like back in them days. 40, what we're talking, years ago, there wasn't any women in this industry. Like she was probably one of the first people to ever do this. So my mum went on she was called Dawn Gibbons, MBE, and she went on to create this business, Flowcrete. So they created factory floors, like laying for airports, hospitals, but she created a product that would kill bacteria on contact. So it was perfect for like hospitals at MRSA and all these things. And it just boomed. So this business grew and grew, so much so it became in 30 countries worldwide. They had manufacturing plants pretty much everywhere in the world, and they could supply everywhere. And it's kind of crazy when I think about it. It's like even just having one business in Cheshire, I'm like, how did she take this business to 30 countries? Like when you really reflect on that, it's freaking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And in that process, what was interesting, my mum was born in a council house with my amazing grandma Vera and her father Peter, who was the inventor. So he was the scientist behind it all. And she had no plans to be a businesswoman. She was like me when I was younger, quite shy. And she went off traveling to France, living on the vineyards, working in the vineyards. And then she came back, and it was just happened by chance. They were talking at the table, and my granddad said, Mars have approached me, the chocolate company, and they want to buy my products for their factories, this product that lays on floors. And my mum went, you can't do that. Like, how much are they asking? £500 in them days for this product.
Yeah.
She's like, that is like, they're stealing off you. We could just sell this product. We should go into business together. And it was my grandma actually at the time that was like, yes, you two go into business together. Like, you should do it. And at the time, my mum was like, I know nothing about business. She'd never been to got a degree. She'd been like not very great in school. And so they just started this journey together in a little tiny, by the park in Congleton, them little units.
Yeah.
She started there. Yeah. And then they got bigger, and they moved into a factory in Congleton. But again, like life does, it goes ups and downs. They had an arson attack that burned down the whole factory. Wow. They had to relocate it all the way to Sandbach. But then they went through such ups and downs. I remember them at one point when I was like 10, they were in like such bad debt, like millions, because they put so much into the business and there's so much to pay out after the factory burnt down. But they managed to carry on and grow it. And the ups and downs they went through as a business, and my dad was part of it. He came in later. The success as Flowcrete was just phenomenal. And
Do you ever reflect back on that? As like, do you remember like seeing your mum and how hard she was working, and do you still think about that?
Of course, yeah. I think about it all the time. Like, she's my biggest inspiration. This is, I think, why I've gone into the women's events and the empowering. I've seen the benefit of my mum doing it. I mean, because she ran the business, but not only that, I remember seeing her, like, she picked me up from school. We were in Macclesfield, and she'd always try and be there for us, and, matches and different things through childhood. But she'd just tell me about a day, and she'd be like, oh, I've been in London today speaking to the House of Commons. And then I did a Young Enterprise Awards. I was judging. And she'd talk about this. I was like, how have you been there, this week? But at the time, it was just mom. That's what she did.
Yeah.
But I think back, I'm like, how did she do this? Like, everything, like way more than me. You think I'm busy on Instagram. Like, she was everywhere around the country.
But do you think, like, when you describe that now, and your mum being that way, I mean, I just see you.
Oh yes,
Do you think your kids look at you like that? Do you want them to? Are you trying to be the same example to your kids as what your mum was to you?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think you need a balance. With all the wellness stuff I've learned, it's great to be on that high and to be doing grafting and doing so much in life and business, but there becomes a fine line when you also want to be with your family. And I think I have to watch myself, because I can be a workaholic like my mum. I can late at night doing emails. Like, even last night I was doing it, but then you burn out. And I think my mum, to be fair, she didn't burn out that often though. I feel like I do. She'd be the first one up in the house, last one to bed at night. But we were, we did need childcare, and we were from an early age. And I don't really want that for my kids. I want to be present and there for them. So that's my only thing. I think it's great to hard graft, but also you need to, self-care is key. You've got to put yourself first sometimes.
On that's a really important point. I think I'm terrible at it, without question.
Everyone is, a lot of people.
I think, normally in those circumstances that, burnout can sound such a challenging word as well, right? In terms of, it sounds severe. What I sense from you when you talk about it, and I've heard you talk about it before when we did the Pyrox event and so on, it's you're good at identifying the things that lead up to it. Yeah,
probably I'm recognizing it before it comes. Like, I'm not in, like when I said burnout before, I'm not in full burnout.
Yeah, totally.
Saying that though, about 90% of women in the UK do register with being burnt out at some point in their life.
So what does it feel like when you say that? What just give us some ideas of what are you feeling?
I feel, because when I was younger, I used to struggle with like anxiety and stress, and I had to do. I've done a lot of courses on this, like mindfulness with stress and things. I get quite flushed. I get it's like you feel like you just can't regulate in your central nervous system. Like you feel anxious and like can't sleep well. You turn to bad eating habits. You don't feel like you get good quality sleep. Mm-hmm. You're just worried all the time about you kind of stressed. When you feel that it's high in your body. So it's just physical stress, and then that's when we start to get health concerns.
Yeah.
So it's just, you've got to be I'm very aware of my body. I think because I have a heart condition as well, I have to be hyper aware, and that's something that got me into the breathwork side, cold water therapy. If I feel my heart rate going up or the palpitations that I get because I've got 2 electrical circuits in my body, I have to be very conscious of it, and I have to just stop, reflect, take a pause. Maybe even literally if I was like in a business meet, I might just go outside for a few minutes, calm myself, go on a little walk. And you have to just be very hyper aware of your body. And
I think what you described there, April, I think will be really insightful, because I don't think a lot of people manage it. They just think, oh shit, I've got to keep going, or just do the hard work. You also did mention that heart element to me at the end of our high rocks, which I thought was hilarious. You're like, oh, by the way, I just thought I should let you know I've got this. So we've just been running for like nearly 50 minutes and doing a really heavy workout for an hour and 20 minutes. But you told me at the end.
I was planning on telling him before. I was like, I better mention to Ben before we do this competition together that I have a heart condition, just in case I go. But you know what? I'm fine now. I don't, because I've regulated my stress.
Yeah.
Even when I do big competitions like that, or intense, like that was intense, right?
Yeah.
I can manage it because I use breath work, and I think a lot of people miss out on this key thing. Like, why is this not being taught in schools?
Yeah.
Breath work. Breath is our life. Like, if we didn't breathe, we're not here. We're dead.
Give us a couple of minutes. So what is it? Because, so again, I've been watching different podcasts, and it's interesting about how you regulate breathing through your nose.
Well, just now, like, let's just let everyone listen into your breath. because if you're in a stress response, you're short and shallow breathing in your chest. So you'll be,
Perhaps
short and shallow
as well, right?
Not noticing. Like I'm excited. Sometimes that's okay to be a bit more stressful breathing. But if you're sat still and you're at home working and you're short and shallow breathing, that's not a good sign, because your body's in a stress response. We're in fight or flight. You're preparing yourself because that email's just shot through. Oh, I'm getting stressed. What we need to do then is stop. Take a deep breath. Yeah. Slow exhales out. Exhale is actually the one that create the most amount of oxytocin hormone in the body. It relaxes our central nervous system. And then tune into your belly. So you want to do deep belly diaphragmatic breathing. Open up the belly, and then you'll start to notice that the belly helps you just connect and slow down. So like imagine like a balloon. So on the inhale, we're filling it up. Exhale, letting it go. And it's simple. It's so simple. We slow down our breathing. But if you start doing that 5 times a day, then your brain is very powerful. So with the neuroplasticity, we'll learn, we're getting into that habit.
Yeah, okay.
We'll start to learn to breathe a bit longer. Yeah. I saw this thing on Instagram last night where it showed you, it showed you on the screen, like breathe up, inhale, and then exhale. And then it showed you the age your lungs are if you don't get down to this point. So if you're exhaling and it's really short, your age count is like that of an 80-year-old.
Wow.
But if you keep going, you might be like a 20-year-old. So if you can control your breath, you're controlling your life, really.
And it's a very obvious thing that people don't think about, isn't it? Because if you think about somebody in real stress or being upset, they do have a moment, don't they, where they go, naturally, they just go,
yeah,
like that. And that in itself is almost like the natural body response of, no, just exhale. It's slow.
Funny you said that, because in yoga yesterday, I said to people, it's good to yawn and sigh. Like, don't feel, in our culture, it's like, oh, that's a bit rude, yawning in a meeting or something. But no, it's actually really good. It's our body's way of going, like, I need just a moment, because we should do that more. And one of the best things that's a bit, we'll say, woo-woo, people think, chanting and humming.
Humming, I've heard about humming literally this morning.
But chanting's even better. So if you can do breaths, but humming, let's just say like a, do that hum breath. If you just did that for 10 times in the morning, it doubles your lung capacity because you breathe out for double the amount. Right. So it's thought that everyday life, we're breathing to about 60% capacity in our lungs, or every day like now. But if we just did a few minutes, 2 minutes of breath work, we'd get that up to 90%. So just think, when your lungs are breathing to 90% capacity, we're getting fresh oxygen in our nerves, our organs, our brain, we're working optimally. And that's what we should do, because you're not going to function in your work life. You're not going to function in your relationships or sleep if you're not breathing properly. Like, it doesn't work. And so many people have issues with sleep, mouth breathing and all this stuff because they're not regulating the stress. So it is the key. And I'd say alongside with breathwork, cold water therapy and the mixture of yoga, the beauty of that synchronicity just makes you feel good,
Graft the podcast, naturally we kind of navigate to working environments, right, April? But some of the guests that we're going to have on the course are nothing to do with careers at all. You got 4 kids. That's graft.
That is hard. God, that is the biggest job of all.
Yeah. How do you juggle that? How do you work in that environment? How much does your husband Chris?
Well, I'm so grateful for Chris, because he, at the moment, because I'm in a stage of such growth in our business, it's just taken off. Like, we've got a big event in a few months for over 500 people. We're doing corporate programs for offices. We're here, there and everywhere with my team at the moment. We do so much, like, on a monthly basis. So we have to balance it well. And it's great if you can put that equal balance in a relationship. So I'm so grateful for Chris, because he does so much. But it is tough. And I wish my kids would go to bed a bit earlier so I could get more stuff done, but they don't. And I've got a 1-year-old who wakes up most of the night, and today I'm tired. But you know what? I think the key for me is, I think when I had my first child, I don't know if it changes the more you have, I was like, oh, poor me, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't get word, I can't go in today, But I think the cafe changed a lot. I just had to graft, you couldn't let your customers down. And I just realized, it's all mindset. It's like, if you can achieve what you believe, and if you say to yourself, I'm going to wake up and have a great day today. I've had 2 hours sleep. that day of the high rocks, I didn't tell you, I'd had no sleep. Like, but I just woke up and went, I'm going to freaking smash this today. We're going to do a high rocks. I'm going to go into this meeting. I'm going to go into this podcast. I'm going to do great things today. Even if you're tired, you know what? You can shake it off.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is tough to balance with kids, but I always think of the why am I doing this?
Okay.
And we have to remember this in a business. Like, you can get so busy in your day-to-day life, but why are you here? What are you doing? What's your purpose?
Yeah.
And we always have to retract back for that purpose, passion, and I've forgotten the last one, pride or whatever. But why are you here? And that always root comes to inspire my children and give them a great life and make sure they feel calm and comfortable in themselves.
I love that purpose and passion.
Yeah.
I think that, one thing I'm trying to get into talk to the kids about at the moment, Billy, my daughter's just doing her GCSE choices, right?
Great.
Think back when I was doing GCSEs, got to do a bit. I mean, I think business was probably relatively new as a choice then.
Oh yeah, it was.
I don't know how long ago I was at school, but like, got to do a language, got to do these things. And my narrative now, really, to the kids and my wife is, do the stuff you enjoy.
Exactly. That's so good you're doing that, Ben.
If you're enjoying it, you're going to do really well at it, right? I mean, it's like so
it makes
cliche,
sense,
but it makes so much sense, doesn't it?
We had a pressure back then.
But I think that's also got to go into work. I probably use it too much as a fear factor for my son at the moment, in that if you don't, qualifications or whatever it may look like, if you end up doing something you don't love, that's a grind. Right?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, that's
really, you can
probably
do it.
graft as well. It would be graft because you're then kind of going against the grain. But I really want to kind of get through to the think about the stuff you enjoy.
It's amazing you're instilling that in them. You need to. It's
a big part of what you're talking about, right? I mean, you sat at a desk at a really successful advertising business and said, no, I'm going to go and love someone in India and change my entire life, right? I mean, in the nicest possible way.
I'm quite extreme, I think. But I'm just like, I think it's that thing, because I always had that feeling in me. My mum would say, you can do anything you want in your life. So I always had that. I didn't have a fear that I'd fail. I don't think I have that fear factor. I'm just like...
failed, though?
Oh, yeah, so many times. I mean, like, for example, at the cafe, like, we'd have days where we'd let people down, and sometimes you're just having a tough day, and, or... I've had business failures, many times. Like, I've got a property business as well, and when you just feel like you pay out so much more than you bring in on one property, or there's loads of things. But at the end of the day, the best lessons in life are failure. Like, when you go through that, you come out the better side, because we all have to fail. Like, it's part of life.
I'm reading a cool book at the moment, which can't be that cool because I've forgotten the name of it. But it's essentially a book about how when you're going through those difficult times or hard times, it references almost like winter a little bit, right? That is just a part of life.
Exactly.
It's never going to be like this all the time.
I'm glad you mentioned winter, because that's something that, so when I teach my yoga and my retreats, I always connect. I'd say my business model is around the seasons. So I teach people that we are circular beings, we connect to the seasons, and you're not going to be on a high in winter.
Yeah, exactly.
And I say to people...
And it's the time for the body to go, stop doing all this shit, just...
hibernate.
Stop. Yeah, basically, right? I mean, that's animals do, right?
I recommend, so when we were in our business networking, we'd say to people, like, if you want to launch new projects, new business, new memberships, all that, wait till spring, because you'll feel good. You'll feel on your high. It's like... Or when you're doing these vision boards for January, I say not the 1st of January, because sometimes actually the Chinese New Year is a good time, around February, when we're starting now.
Right, yeah.
We're starting to see the daffodils coming up. We see the first signs of spring. That's
optimism.
Have we found a change, right? Like, I know probably when this podcast comes out, we'll be into it'll be different times, but it's like when the height of the spring or summer comes, we feel our best selves. So maybe wait to launch something then.
It's really insightful, really. And as I say, reading this book at the moment is definitely giving me that.
This episode is powered by Activate, my favourite vitamin drink with 0 sugar, 8 essential vitamins and minerals, only 3 calories, and a drink that supports everyday wellness. If you're a busy woman running a business, chasing goals, balancing life, and just trying to feel your best every day, Activate should be your new daily ritual. They're not just a drink, but a wellness movement.
Everything from B12 for energy to vitamin D for mood. And honestly, it's like sipping sunshine. They're packed actually with your full daily allowance of essential vitamins. Some I mentioned, there's C, D, zinc, and more. So it's literally like a delicious boost that helps you feel your best, even on those busiest days. If I've been on a run or doing a podcast interview or even juggling the kids, and they love them too, by the way, I swear it's that little pick-me-up that keeps me focused and feeling good. So if you haven't tried Activate drinks yet, go check them out. Go to www.activatedrinks.com and pop in the code WILD40 for 40% off your first order, which is insane, right? Because staying balanced and energized should taste this good. Follow them also on @ActivateDrinks on the socials. Thank you, everyone.
Do you take a lot of the lessons that you've taken from the cafe into what you're doing today?
Yeah, I think the cafe, I mean, you know, it was hard graft, but I'm glad I did it because I think I could do anything now. Like, put me on a stage or in front of 500 people, put me on a coffee machine or like doing anything. Like, I feel like I could manage any business because you do a bit of everything. You have to be, and you said something earlier, like it's good to socially interact with people. That side of it, because a lot of people now get these degrees, they might go straight to a law firm or something. Let's say you're a lawyer or something, but have you had that experience of social interactions? You need to work with people for a while instead of just getting your first client and then expecting to be able to blend with them well. It's good to get lessons earlier in life of actual work experience because it's so important. So that, I think the cafe, it's helped me so much, like with the event business. And through having the cafe, I was always running retreats, but they've just got bigger and bigger. And I can't believe like everyone's just seeming to sell out now. And it's crazy to me. Like I just do it for a passion and I love it. It wasn't really a money earner to start with. It was just like, let's bring my community together. Let's do some yoga, hire a big teepee in the woods, you know. And I have now this range of wedding venues all across Cheshire and Staffordshire and things. But they're asking me now, these businesses, like these companies, like you come in and do it. Like, well, I work with Alderley Park. We go in there and do corporate yoga programs. We do, they let us have the whole access to the glass house, like for our big summit. And it's amazing the opportunities that it's opened us up to.
So is that where you want to go now? Is that what that's the plan is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that look like?
So we want to go, I want to take Wild and Wild, the brand, across the whole of the UK. My dream is to have these networking groups going into every town across the UK. So we're just actually starting, we're getting our first kind of coordinator who's starting one in Nantwich under our brand.
Brilliant.
And I've got like another team member of mine, Louise, is starting to run them in other towns. And that's the start. So then we're going to branch out. So if there's anyone listening that might want to do it in their town, basically I just teach them the model, teach them our values, our purpose, why we're doing this. And if they're compatible with our brand, then I'm just so excited to take this to the next level. But also start doing more events, working with big corporate companies, doing wellness retreats.
Yeah. It's becoming so much more prevalent now, isn't it? In major organisations, you know, previously it used to be, what do we need to do? Give them half a day off for a charity thing.
Exactly.
And now it's kind of a little bit more, you know, thinking through how they deliver wellness.
Yeah.
You know, it's and employees are looking for what that is going to look like when they go into industries as well. So you're 100%. Planning to do more of that in the corporate world? Is that
I mean, we get asked all the time. So like the other week we had and it was an online business. They won't mind me mentioning AG Communications, and they're based all across the UK. But all the team members hadn't met. Like a lot of them hadn't met. Like some of them all in Scotland and here. Wow. So she brought them all in, and we did a sound bath. This is a new word. If people haven't had one before, you need to experience it.
Go for it. Tell us about it.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
A sound experience. So we do a bit of yoga, and then we use the crystal sound bowls, which have been now scientifically shown the frequencies release like stress and negativity in the brain, and like it completely calms your central nervous system. So they actually use it in America in neonatal wards when babies are stressed and things like that. Wow. So these big crystal bowls that we go in. It sounds a bit like alternative, but it's so powerful. Like until you've experienced one. It
sounds peaceful.
And it actually lets you release any like past traumas or stress that you've held in your body. You feel like some people can get a bit headachy or releasing after it, like clears your body. So they asked us to go in, and we had all their team members.
How many were there?
Oh, it was nice. It was about 25 or 30, because they're such a big business, but there's a small team.
Right, yeah.
And they work with so many big businesses. And they had, we brought in food, because we still do a lot of catering, and I work with top chefs and different things like that. And we just made it such a lovely wellness morning. And then they went off and did some more meetings after. But that's something I'd like to do more of, work with more corporate. But then do free things for the community as well. Now the business is really taking off, and we're getting more profit. We're thinking we want to put back more into the community and offer free sessions. So every event we ever do, we offer a free spot for the community, so people can nominate someone, or they might get in touch and say, I'm really struggling financially, you can come along. That's something we've always done at Wild and Wild. And so
I definitely get that sense from you that community is so important. Where did that come from?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I've always just loved being like around people. It must be my mum as well, because she was one of the ones that set up like the Bear Mania project and like the community in town. She'd work a lot with the councils. Maybe just seeing her run this huge business with 500 staff. I mean, 500 staff, imagine. It's interesting, because I was quite an introvert when I was a child. So I think it's the yoga community that's helped me.
Okay.
Like seeing the power. Because actually, when we're in each other's energy, we have, it's quite spiritual, but auras. We have energy, right? We're all energy, aren't we? So we have an energy around us. And when we connect with people, if you're around good vibration people, like positive people like yourself, Ben, I feel good around you. But I've realized the more in life, I want to be around those kind of people. So at my yoga groups or retreats, I attract really cool people, and at these networking events, and it gives me a buzz. So when I leave, I feel like I can do anything.
From that.
And everyone feels that. They're like, you resonate with everything everyone does. So at my groups, what we do, so we have about 50 that come to our monthly networking now. But at the end, we give everyone a minute to say something about themselves. So they'll stand up and they'll say, I mean, you don't have to, but a lot of people love this experience. It's a good confidence builder. They're like, okay, this is my passions. You know, I'm a videographer, I'm do this, I'm based here. They feel confident after it, but then they might connect with someone across the room that's like, oh, we need to work together. And then it's just like amazing connections are built. And this is something I found in life. Like, that's why I love community so much. You get so much out of it.
Do you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've got a story for you from about your mum, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I've never told you this. I actually had an interview with your mum.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
did she do the
No.
The numbers?
I worked for a medical company for a long time in this area, and I applied for a job at Johnson & Johnson, and they were like, oh, you've got all the skill set for someone. I was only 19. I went straight from school into work. You got the right skill set, but we only take people on with degrees. And there was a role coming up at Flowcrete to work as an account executive. Yeah. And I think they were trying to recruit for something to take to John Lewis or something. So I had this interview, and your mum's, quite a powerful woman. And
how did you find her when you first met her there? Well, because had you seen her before?
She's very, charismatic, and for a town like Congleton, if you don't mind me saying, looked very different.
Oh yeah, different, right?
Really, very cool vibe.
Bright hair.
Bright hair. Yeah, exactly. But actually, the interview, she, I think within about 10 minutes, was like, this job's not for you.
Right? Okay.
But all in the right way, and then spent about 20-30 minutes just talking to me about direction and what I think you're good at.
Lovely.
And it was
she was very caring that.
She was very, very caring.
She was very good at reading someone, like in a good way. She would have connected with you, but then thought this might be not the right role for you.
I didn't come off it at all, being disappointed. I thought, wow, I've really learned something there. And it was.
She'd feel the fit for straight away, and I wondered if she did the numerology on you. She used to do this numerology on her process of employment. That might have been early on in the journey, but she would go so thorough in it.
Yeah.
And then she'd match. They had the most amount of people that had fallen in love and get married in the team because she'd matchmake and things. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
But she had such a great style of business.
Amazing. One last thing before we finish. We always ask. We always ask somebody who knows the guest for a bit of a comment about them.
Oh gosh, who's this?
I'm rubbish at this, right? Because reading it gets me emotional. So this is from Chris. April chases purpose with her work, not the standard measures of success. The passion for what she does is what drives her. She's the love of my life. She's never been comfortable with the typical path, which is something we both agree on. We've always wanted to show our children that fulfillment doesn't come from fitting into someone else's mould. April expresses that message every day, which I think is beautiful. She balances ambition with heart, and she shows up for her family and the same relentless love and care. Our kids are growing up knowing that they can create their own futures, led by an example of a mum who proves that success is about living life on your own terms. I feel so grateful to share this life with her. April isn't just my wife, she's my partner in crime. She's the mother of my children, and I've never felt so in love with her since giving birth to our children and carving out a path for herself and her family. And just like her mum, Dawn, she's unbelievably strong and driven. And although she can be stubborn at times, that's what makes her unstoppable, and I wouldn't have her in any other way.
Oh my gosh, I'm all emotional now.
I am. I get terrible. He sent it to me last night, and I'm like, I can't read that
That's
tomorrow.
Powerful, yeah.
But my question, the reason we get this is do you realise what you're delivering to so many important people around your life? Do you hear that?
Obviously we all have that inner critic, but it's sometimes you have to stop and really look at, how far you've come. And from someone that struggled with so much anxiety as a kid and never thought she'd settle down and find a purpose in life. Just listening to that makes me realise, I'm there, and, I'm there now. And you have to stop and realise, I'm so grateful for what I have and the journey I've been on.
Yeah.
It's not been easy.
No.
And Chris will know, it's been a roller coaster, especially when life throws all it's got at you. But we've got here, and I feel like I've just got so much strength and excitement for the next few years ahead.
April, I started this podcast wanting to talk to, I think, industry people who were going to say, you got to do this in your career and so on and so forth. And if I'm honest, when I thought about interviewing you, I was like, oh God, how will it go and where? I genuinely think already you are the ambassador of what Graft is.
Oh, bless you.
You are an amazing person that has really, there's an alternative way of getting to where you want, but the underlying thing I'm taking from this is a relentless can-do attitude of doing things how you want to do, and success comes in many forms. And I have a huge amount of admiration for you. Thank you so much for joining us on Graft the podcast, and I wish you all the best for everything in the future.
Thanks so much, Ben. It's amazing you've got this space and you're sharing so much inspirational wisdom with everyone. And just everyone, make sure you believe that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Just start with small steps and you'll get there.
Awesome. Thank you, April.
Ben.
Thank you.